Hey YouTube, I'm Kenneth Ryan.
I'm Lindsay Reesop.
And
Did
we're
we
back.
say this last time?
I know, we did it differently last time. And we're back with another exciting episode of Fanfiction Friday. We are continuing where we left off with Star Wars The New Galaxy by Cloud 411. We are on chapter 47 of 58, so we are getting down to the wire. We're not quite at the penultimate episode yet, but we're very close. Let's see where this takes us.
To it.
47.
Me or you?
It doesn't. I can do it, I guess. Sure. I hope I don't talk all chapter. I'll never forgive myself.
I don't really care.
Chapter 47. Vaccine. Darth Salvador sat on his throne-like chair in his resident chamber. Why don't you just call it a throne?
Yeah.
His eyes closed behind his helmet. The change of appearance has served him well. He was now more intimidating to those who did not know what he looked like behind the mask and armor.
Stereotypical jock from high school thing.
The armor also, bless you, provided
like 8
him
years.
with an upgraded level of protection. He placed his right fist on his chin and opened his eyes to the sensory equipment in the inside of his helmet. The sensory equipment allowed him to zoom in on objects and project a sonar-like vision, which allowed him to see through solid walls and inside human bodies.
What?
Okay.
So it's an X-ray
I guess.
on your face? He's gonna get brain
Oh,
cancer
he's gonna
and
have
die?
such bad brain cancer.
That'd be funny. That's how it ends.
That's how it ends. It's like, oh,
He
that
got
technology.
brain cancer and died.
He sat on his chair thinking about what his next move should be. The world's army have made some major advances during the past month.
God, I'm just thinking of that stupid show Drawn Together, whatever, Foxy, when she got cancer.
Fox love. Oh, from his fucking X-ray vision. Oh,
Anyways.
God, I spilled this from laughing. I need a wipe.
It just made me think of that.
Oh, I totally get it. Oh no, she's been reduced to a racial stereotype. That's not new. Is that... What was she before?
Oh, God. That's a terrible
Oh,
show.
I love Drawn Together so much. It's such horribly
It's so
offensive-
problematic.
It's such horribly offensive humor. But if you like offensive humor, check it out. It's got some good lines and some good characters.
Where they got gay married.
For the
the
insurance.
Anyways, back to this other show.
Oh my god, the world's army have made some major advances during the past month. Oh, this isn't a train wreck. Not yet. They had taken several key...
That's an exaggeration.
several key world points back from the Force Army, and Salvador, as the Force Army's leader, had to find a way to remedy the situation and get the
How have
balance
they
of power
taken
back in
points
their
back?
favor. You guys are so strong. Stop sucking.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they can't be everywhere at once. Maybe they've...
Yeah, I guess maybe it's just the numbers game. They're losing the numbers game. He would most likely have to travel to Paris and take back that city with him and his personal squad.
Travel because there's way more of them.
That's true.
But they can also attack multiple points, I suppose, across different countries.
Yeah, the World Army, if they're coordinated, could be really powerful. A knock came at the door to his room. What is it? He growled through his mask.
Oh, this random soldier. There's nothing that you need to see, Lord Salvador, a voice replied. It is something of extreme importance. Random normal voice guy. Salvador stood up from his chair and marched over to the door. With the push of a button, the door slid open.
What is this extreme important matter? He asked.
Grammar. Extremely important or matter of extreme importance?
He's a leader. He doesn't need to say anything.
You'll have to see it, my lord, the soldier replied.
Fine, Salvador said. Lead. The soldier led Salvador to the research room of their major ground base. The room was filled with test tubes and was just a massive laboratory devoted to advancing the Force Army's cause. In the middle of the room was a circle of computers with a man sitting in the center of the circle, swinging his chair from left to right, going from computer to computer, punching in data.
Lord Salvador, the soldier said to the assassins. Lord Salvador, this is Finn.
I know, Salvador growled. I picked him for this job. Now what is it? Finn spun around to face the menacingly armored and masked Salvador. Eccentric scientist.
I've already done those voices for other people. Lord Salvador, pleasure of you to heed my request for a meeting, he said. to this point
Oh, jeez.
of this sudden call for your presence. He spun around and pressed several keys on one of the computer until the screen was full with data. One of our normal human contacts within the world's army sent me this about 48 hours ago.
That's really slow response time if this is important.
Yeah, I've been collaborating whether or not this is real or not. What? I don't know if collaborating is the word you're looking for there.
He's lost his mind.
Whatever, he explained.
What is it? Salvador asked.
A vaccine! Finn replied.
A vaccine for what?
Yeah.
Salvador asked.
Yeah, scientist guy, you should tell him that. What is
That
it?
was a
vaccine.
real question. I need an answer. Someone give me an answer.
What else would humans want to cure? Finn asked. The Force! He quickly added.
You can't cure the Force. Oh, that's the soldier, sorry.
You
That's
can't cure the Force, the soldier replied. It's not possible. Why is the soldier just...
Guess he's
randomly
hanging
butting
out.
in here? You are correct, only to a point, Finn replied. You see, it is impossible to eliminate the Force.
What if fucking Finn and Stacy have a conversation?
It is everywhere, but you can eliminate one's ability to call upon the Force. Thusly, in a rhetorical sense, in a theoretical sense, you can destroy the Force.
Oh my god.
If there is no one to use it, how can you prove it still exists? He explained, because it's in everything, duh.
How does this vaccine cure the Force? Salvador
It's
asked.
not really a vaccine, it's just cutting them off. From
Yeah, that's more of like a dampener
Yeah.
of some kind.
People like us gain the ability to summon the Force and use it because of the midichlorians in our bodies.
Fuck you!
Isn't that one word?
Oh my god, fuck you. You're bringing midichlorians into... Like, I get that that's Star Wars canon, but
Yeah.
everyone knows that was bullshit.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
Isn't that one word, though?
I think so.
There was like a random hyphen in the center of it, so it confused me for a second until I
Yeah, I
read
think
it.
midichlorians is one
Yeah.
thing.
The microscopic life forms that are what connects us to the Force and allows us to use it, Finn explained. Our normal human contact sent me a sample of this vaccine, and I have performed several tests to ensure that it is genuine, he added.
What kind of tests? Salvador asked.
Well, I started by taking a sample of normal human's blood. A DNA map appeared on one of the screens, and injected the blood sample with a piece of the vaccine sample. As you can see, nothing... As you can see, nothing happened.
This is how I talk. As you can see.
As you can see, nothing happened.
That's fine.
He pushed a button and another strand of DNA appeared on the screen. Then I took a sample of a Force human's blood and added a piece of the sample. Oh, and those black dots of midichlorians that I had been able to locate using microscopic technology.
Of course.
So if you could just... Okay, so it's black dots on the DNA.
I guess.
So-
In the blood.
Yeah, so midichlorians are small enough that they're on DNA strands.
I guess. I don't know the science behind
look at the
midichlorians.
No, I inserted the vaccine! The black dots started to disappear. The vaccine attacks the midichlorians in the bloodstream, he added. Salvador, so it's kind of a vaccine. It
Kind of.
fights
yeah,
against the
yeah.
midichlorians, which
As though
are
they're
organisms.
a disease. I get that.
So the midichlorians actually make that sentence true.
Fine. Fine.
Fine. Even though you have midichlorians in general.
Fine.
Salvador stood there watching the black dots that are midichlorians vanishing one by one as his vaccine spread further through the blood sample. I have slowed the reaction time of the vaccine movements using the technology at our disposal, Finn continued. In real time, this whole sample would be midichlorian free in seconds! He added, that's fast.
That is
That's
fast.
super fast.
Well, this soldier's getting a lot more lines than I thought.
So this vaccine, they can turn Force humans into normal humans? The soldier asked. Exactly! Finn answered. My contact informed me that this had been in the process of being created for the past 2 years, and was only just finalized and successfully tried on a living subject, he explained. A living subject? The soldier asked. They took one of our own and experimented the vaccine on them? Yes, Finn answered. It was successful. That Force Army member is now either a normal human and alive, a normal human and dead, or a normal human in the world's army, he added.
Where is this vaccine being developed? Salvador asked in a growl.
It's not that easy, Finn replied. Even if we find out where they're making it. They have thousands, if not millions, of backup files on this project. What? Thousands of backup files?
That's dangerous.
Having like 2 or 3, maybe, is even kind of
It's really easy to find thousands and millions of files, but okay.
Yeah. I mean...
Also, that takes up so much space after a while. Whatever. It's technobabble, it doesn't matter.
Even if we did find out where they're making it, they have thousands, if not millions, of backup files on this project. I guess it just means they can develop it wherever, but it also means that you can...
Destroy the factory.
Or, yeah. But also, you could possibly just develop your own vaccine.
Yeah.
Prevent it from... Protect the midichlorians with some sort of chemical, I don't know.
If the anti-vaxxers get their way.
Yeah, neutralize the vaccine in some people. Who knows? He explained, if we had caught this 2 years ago, it could be a different story. But as it stands, the vaccine is complete and will soon be utilized in the weapons used by the world's army. He went on. So they are planning to turn as many of us normal as they can? The soldier asked. Pricks.
Then it is time for this war to end before they can utilize that in combat, Salvador said, turning his back to the 2 men. It's time for the apocalypse.
So the soldier came to get him, being like, this is super important. You need to find out what this is. Then he came with him to this. And as Finn is telling Salvador, the soldier acts like he has no idea what... How did you know it was super important?
Plot holes.
I guess.
Plot holes, plot holes, plot holes.
I guess.
Plot holes.
Yeah.
Good lord. Chapter 48. New Leadership.
Ooh.
Rick was the assumed leader of the world's army, but even he had to report to people that outranked him on many levels.
So new leadership of the world.
One of these people is the President of the United States, the most powerful country still in the world.
Okay.
He had to routinely report on the army's progress against the Force Army led by a Darth Salvador.
Wait, one sec. The thing was that they had half of the US and half of Europe.
Yes.
So there's plenty of other countries that they don't have at all.
Like Russia.
Yeah, and China. But the United States is still the most powerful country left in the world.
I'm not questioning it. Great. Rick stared at a copy of the vaccine file that had been given to him. A secret project carried out without his knowledge, a project that at first outraged him, but upon further examination of the project, he realized that it could actually help him in his cause and his plans.
As long as you don't get the vaccine / aerosol with the vaccine, then you're
right.
Good. You wanted to be the only Force user too, didn't he?
Yes.
He and Salvador had similar goals.
Yes. There seemed to be no way for the body of a Force-sensitive human to reject the vaccine. It would make Force humans normal humans, and they would have no effect on normal humans. The report stated that they were in the process of pressuring this vaccine into bullets and gaseous vapors that would enter the body through the lungs and be transferred to the bloodstream and begin attacking the midichlorians of the being. This would be a way to eliminate all Force sensitivity in the known and unknown humans, thus restoring order to the world.
What unknown humans?
The ones who don't know they're Force sensitive. That's a thing.
They already were rounding them up.
They've missed some in these 4 years.
In the known and unknown humans.
Bruh, I don't know. Plot holes. At least that is what the top powers of the world was thinking would happen. Over half of the world's army came from the United States, and thusly the president was basically the ruler of the world for the time being. All other countries reported to him regularly and gave progress reports on their fronts of the war.
I mean, other countries have large armies as well, like
Russia and China.
And China and like Korea and Thailand have like, you're required to serve in the military for like 2 years.
Right. So, but like, whatever.
It might have changed, who knows?
Whatever, I'll believe this.
Maybe the US is requiring stuff too now, who knows?
Yeah. Rick despised being treated like a dog like this. How is this being treated like a dog?
You're
following the chain of command.
Yeah.
This is not, whatever. But soon it would be over and he would be the leader of the world and the world's army at the same time. His phone started to ring at his desk. He reached over and picked it up.
Run for president. It's been 4 years.
Yes.
You should be a new president.
Well, FDR held on to presidency throughout World War II without I don't think he did an election because of the war. I think he just was the president until the war was over. I think that's how it historically went, but I don't know. He was president for like 12 years, though.
Was that before the...
I think so. And I think that like they
one?
let him do it because they didn't want to focus on an election during the war.
Well, yeah.
Yes, he said into the phone. You can be the voice.
It's just a voice, okay.
Yeah.
There's been a situation, a voice replied. Get to the following coordinates at once.
Right. Rick answered, placing the phone back on the receiver. It took him 2 hours to arrive at the scene he was being called to. He arrived at the gates of the White House and flashed his ID badge and security number. He was escorted by several World Army soldiers that led him into the White House and towards the Oval Office of the President. When the door to the Oval Office was open, Rick knew exactly why he was called there. The President lay on the floor, a fresh cut into his chest.
This is what he means by he's
blood
soon going to
pouring,
lead the world.
Blood pouring profusely from the wound. I know.
How is he going to become president just randomly through this plan?
I don't
I'm assuming
know.
he's the one who was sent the assassin.
Yeah, I don't know.
As in my little girl dude.
I think we'll see. I think we will see what his plan is.
Just random...
He was... The President of the United States had been killed, or rather, assassinated.
Just a random soldier. He was found like this an hour ago. The soldier stated, the slash is clearly a lightsaber slash. An assassination.
It looks that way.
Clearly it's an assassination! Anyone killing the president is an assassination.
Yeah.
Even if they weren't on the other side of the war.
Yeah. It's either an assassination or an assassination.
Yeah.
You decide. It looks that way, Rick replied, looking at the body.
A murder, maybe.
Anyone get a look at the perpetrator?
Negative, the soldier answered. He was alone in his office when this happened.
The president of the world, basically, and you leave him alone for even a second? Rick asked, irritated. That's just screaming for someone to kill him.
He's in the Oval Office. You have security. He can be fine for a second. Unless there's an inside man.
There's definitely inside men.
Yeah. Or I guess an assassin who can somehow sneak through all the... Get a
Yeah,
hacker.
Spider-Man.
I mean...
Spider-Man doesn't kill.
Yeah. I know, sir, the soldier replied sadly. We should not have allowed him alone time. It was too dangerous.
With him gone, who will lead the world back to salvation and freedom?
The president's not allowed to be alone.
Yeah,
ever.
I guess not. Maybe that's why they go crazy.
Yeah.
It's too much pressure. I don't know.
Masturbate or something.
Right? Just, come a little. Rick asked more to himself than the others in the room. Oh,
Wait,
now it's an official.
With him gone, who will lead the world back to salvation and freedom? He asked himself.
I mean, now there's an official, different than the soldier.
The president had been saying for a few days now, an official said, stepping forward. He had been telling me how if anything were to happen to him, then someone with extreme knowledge of the situation, such as the Force Army and the members, should be the leader of the world fighting against them, he explained.
What does this mean? Rick asked.
He named you his successor if you were to be assassinated.
That's not how presidencies work.
No. Vice president.
Vice president takes over, or there's a new election.
And in this case, it would be vice president.
In this case, it would be vice president, and if the vice president dies, if it's the United States, then it would be the Speaker of the House, or Speaker of the Senate.
I don't know.
I forget which one. But I think it goes Senate then House.
There's a shit ton of people. There's like 12 people in my...
There is a line of succession, and this is not the man who would get it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Is this a random official in league with Rick, and he's just like, oh, the president was telling me all this stuff the other day.
Maybe.
He's been telling me that he wants you to lead.
Maybe. We'll see.
He named you his successor if you were to be assassinated, the official replied. You've been fighting these Force humans longer than anyone else. You know how they think, act, and move. Shouldn't he be like the...
So he's the commander
general?
of the army.
Yeah.
The grand general of the world's army.
Yeah. The war chief.
God.
Whatever. How they think, act, and move. And you are leader of the world's army. You're the only person capable of leading us back to the peace we enjoyed before this incident, the official went on. You can't just decide. You're the only one capable of leading us.
Yeah, I guess. Whatever you say.
And okay, whatever. Rick was silent.
I don't know.
Oh, you're modest. It has already been announced, the official said, that you are now the president of the world.
That is an evil title. Nobody who is a good person has the title president of the world.
And also, they wouldn't announce this before telling him or asking him.
Yeah, right?
And the world is not going to be like, hey,
you are the leader of every single,
we agree
all
with this.
7 billion people. No. Absolutely not. That would start a whole nother war. You know how many people have egos?
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
His assassination has been made public?
Rick asked, surprised.
They call him being like, hey, there's been a situation, we need you over here right away.
They
It's
already
like, hey,
announced
we announced it to the press.
So how would he not know? Rick is informed of everything.
Yeah.
That's plot holes.
Yeah.
Plot holes galore.
Yeah. Yes, we thought it unwise. We thought it unwise to keep something like this a secret for fear of a conspiracy theory that would most likely pop up, the official replied.
Soldier.
I think it was just a normal voice or something. You're now the official ruler of the world, sir, the soldier said with a salute. You're now the official ruler of the world. That's not how this would work.
So Rick is like the evilest man alive.
Yeah.
He that is the title of the evilest man in the universe. Ruler of the world.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And if, obviously this is his plan, but if it wasn't his plan, whoever is thrown into this, like, the president thinks you should rule after him. You're now the ruler of the world. Congratulations. Like, I don't want to fucking rule the world.
They're gonna kill me next.
Leave me alone.
I just leave. Yeah, I'm done.
I'm
Good
just trying to
Lord.
lead our armies. I'm just sitting here trying to save lives or something.
Jesus.
I was like, nope, you're the ruler now. What? I have no experience. What are you...
Can you give me a minute with his body?
Rick asked slowly.
You barely know the dude. Of course, the soldier replied, motioning for everyone to leave the room. When he was alone in the room, Rick walked over the dead body of the president. He looked down at the lifeless corpse. A figure appeared in the window behind the president's desk. It is done, master, the young man said with a bow.
You've done well, my apprentice.
Rick replied, placing a shoed foot on the president's head and turning its face.
Deadhead.
Everything is coming together perfectly. Now all we need to do is see what the Force Army's next move will be,
He added with a slight smile.
This war is nearly over.
He told his apprentice.
Soon this will be all over, and a new world order will be established.
So I get he's an assassin, but wouldn't they have, like, sensors all over the White House to pick up if someone who has force powers is
Yes.
there?
Which is why this
I know
is
Rick's
dumb.
body armor thing prevents his
But that,
signature
what's the assassin's
Does
like?
he also have a random body armor?
Oh, what if that's the case? That's so dumb.
Ow. Sorry, microphone.
You can pick this one.
Sure. Well, we're gonna move on. Okay.
Yeah,
Chapter
yeah.
49. Light. Crystal? That'd be
Crystal
hilarious.
Light. That would be hilarious. She finally returns. Is she going to be important in
Like
the
4
last
years
10
later.
chapter?
Salvador stood in the command room of his base, his armored arms folded in front of him across his armored chest. Okay. His black leather gloved hands resting on his forearms. They had arms so much. He stood at the front of a massively long table. Seated on both sides of his table are the many Sith Lords and Jedi Knights and Masters that held some form of voice in the Force Army. Salvador had brought Finn in to explain the epidemic that this vaccine that the normal humans have created could cause. I know we've established it's pretty much a vaccine. Why is it in print? Like,
I don't know.
quotations.
I don't know.
Everyone was in a small level of panic over the news. They were concerned more with the fact that it took them so long to find out about this vaccine than the actual effects the vaccine would have if they took it in. Why?
I don't know.
I think the effects of the vaccine are more important than the fact that, hey, we didn't uncover this secret information for 2 years.
Right. Right.
Whatever. Random
Sith.
On top of the worry of this vaccine, a Sith started. The president has been assassinated and his position filled by a leader of the Guardians, Rick.
A minor problem, Salvador growled through his masked face. Rick is not attuned to the Force. He will be easy to control if we can get someone close to him.
Don't you know that Rick is a Toon of the Force? Didn't they fight him? And then he threw the lightsaber to make it look like he wasn't for the Jedi.
He's forgotten in 4 years. Conveniently.
Or less, because I think he knew, right?
No, they know.
Yeah,
they know because he fought with the Jedi, with a saber, and they're like, "You're part of the Sith." He's like, "Yes, I'm gonna be the last Jedi."
Yeah, he told that to
Yes.
Mike and...
But Mike forgot it. Salvador forgot because
Or
it's
he's
been a
just
while.
not telling people for some unknown reason.
That could also be it.
But
I don't
also,
know.
that'd be a stupid decision.
I'm predicting that the author forgot that Salvador knew.
Possibly.
I think that's what happened.
I don't know when this was started and when it ended, like how much time passed between that chapter and this chapter
True.
for the author, so
True.
they probably forgot, honestly. This is a Jedi.
Yeah.
The war is stretching too far, a Jedi blurted out, standing up. You've led us for 4 years and nothing has changed, he yelled, pointing a finger at Salvador. I suggest that new leadership is needed if we are to win this war with as little normal human deaths as possible. He was cut off by gasping for breath. So the new leadership title is for the Sith Jedi? I thought it was... And also the president?
What?
The title of the chapter was New Leaders. So
Oh, I don't know.
So they
Seems
might
like it.
both get new leaders. Ooh.
Seems like
It's probably
it.
gonna be like fucking Stacy or something.
Oh, good. Stacy. Faces turn.
Let's get up again. The faces turned to the front of the table where Salvador held out a gloved hand, using the Force to choke the Jedi.
You wish to save the very people who wish to destroy what we were born as?
He asked, squeezing more tightly with the Force.
They wish to change us into them, like we are some type of epidemic. This war started because they refused to coincide with us. This is their own foolishness that has started this conflict, and I plan to put an end to it,
He explained, increasing his grip with the Force around the Jedi's throat.
You will be good to remember your place, Jedi.
If they can figure out how to have a vaccine that just like kills the midichlorians, can't they find out a way to just give everyone?
Yeah,
So
aerosol.
just have everyone be Jedi and have it connected to the Force. Why not go the other way?
Oh, because they're scared of it.
I guess.
Salvador released his grip on the Force, and the Jedi slumped forward over the table, coughing while trying to catch his breath. Salvador crossed his arms in front of his chest again and resumed his posture.
Have we been able to locate this crystal Jedi that went rogue before this army was formed?
He asked the room.
Oh wait, no, this chapter is light. I forgot.
Yeah.
The last chapter was new leadership.
Ooh, a Sith.
But it's fucking Crystal. I knew it.
Yeah.
I didn't know it. I joked about it, but I knew it.
No, of course it's Crystal, dude.
We have had a
else?
few promising leads, but nothing solid or concrete, a Sith answered. Why the sudden increased interest in her, Lord Salvador?
That is not for anyone else to know.
That stupid
Salvador
ritual
growled
4
back.
years later?
Just locate her and report to me her location.
He ordered.
We have to consider the great possibility that these men killed by the world's army, as many Jedi and Sith have. A Jedi stated.
For the sake of our cause, Jedi,
Salvador replied.
you'd best hope that did not happen.
The door to the command room suddenly slid open, and Stacy walked in. She wore the black leather suit that she had acquired during her mission in Vegas.
Lord Salvador,
She said with a slight bow.
I've located her.
Wow, convenient.
Everyone in the room could feel for a brief moment Salvador's excitement. He strode across the room and stood in front of Stacy.
We leave at once.
He said, walking around her.
So he walked over to her, stopped, said this, and then continued walking. Couldn't he have just said it while walking?
Why would he do that? She quickly followed him out of the room and down several halls until they reached the hangar area at the base, where they boarded a small transport craft that could take them to their destination. Salvador took a seat on the opposite side of the cabin area than Stacy.
Where did you locate her?
He asked.
She was detected about an hour ago in a section of LA,
She answered.
We have determined that she is still in the area. Any World Army stations near her location? No,
She answered.
it's completely barren aside from normal human population, of course. That is one place that normal humans live that is one place that normal humans live that has zero World Army presence.
She went on.
It's completely barren, besides all the people who live there.
If we could find her, she is ours. I heard about your victory in Vegas,
Salvador said after a long silence.
You've gotten better in your control of the dark side.
Thank you!
She accepted the compliment. The pilot.
Sir, we are approaching the location. The pilot said over his shoulders. Where should I take the ship down?
4 miles from the location she was last spotted at, Salvador answered. Give her space to move when she notices us.
As you wish, sir. The pilot replied, bringing the ship closer to the ground. Civilians started to scatter as the craft was brought down in the middle of a street. Clearly, the pilot did not understand how to covertly land a ship. Salvador stepped out of the ship. At the very sight of his black armored and masked presence, one of those needed to be changed. And maybe erase the presence, whatever.
Masked.
The civilian, either black armored and masked presence, or black armor and mask. I don't know.
Yeah, the civilian. Both were.
The civilians all retreated and started to run away from him. They all knew his masked face from news reports. He could feel their fear. He used that fear to increase his range with the Force as he reached out to try and locate Crystal. He sent out several vibrations, but received none in return. Either she was gone, or she was masking her presence very well. Stacy stood behind her, attempting the same. But with the light side of the Force, Stacy knew Crystal from her time with the Jedi. With the light side of the Force, period. Stacy knew Crystal from her time with the Jedi. If she replied to anyone, it would be her. So, Crystal, failed in her quest, or whatever, so she just gave up and went to live with around normal people.
I guess.
Instead of joining the fight for
I literally
freedom.
don't know. I guess she's become a hermit because she's the Obi-Wan of this story.
Yeah, okay.
Got her, she said after several moments. Salvador rotated his masked face to stare at Stacy. She remembers me from our time together with the Jedi, she explained.
Can you tell
as
who
she started,
is Force? I guess, yeah, I suppose.
I don't know, man. As she started to walk towards the location where she felt the reverberation. Salvador followed a fair distance from Stacy. He clearly stood out among the buildings that they were surrounded by. He needed to keep his distance from Stacy or else Crystal may spot him and retreat.
Did she not feel they're coming from literally the same place?
Oh my god, could you not feel the presence of a Dark Lord? Yeah. They walked down several streets until they reached a deserted street that had clearly occupied civilians until moments earlier. Salvador used his sensor equipment in the inside of his mask to scan the area of anyone who would be hiding. He located one, a female. Salvador stepped aside into an abandoned building that was on the street and allowed Stacy to proceed further down. Suddenly, a woman stepped in front of Stacy. The woman was wearing a black leather jacket over black shirt and blue jeans. She reached out and embraced Stacy in an affectionate hug.
It's been so long, the woman said. Stacy returned the hug.
Where have you been? She asked the woman. The Jedi have been looking for you for years. They said you left to find Joe's killer, she added.
Yes, the woman replied, but I failed in that task. By the time I arrived back at the Jedi hideout, everyone had been killed, and all the other Jedi hideouts have been abandoned, she explained.
I'm glad to see you're safe, though, Crystal, Stacy said with a smile.
I just wish that I could have found the monster that killed Joe, she replied.
And you have, Salvador said, stepping out into the street. Crystal stared at the suited and masked figure.
You're the one they've been talking about on the news. Salvador, she muttered, whipping out her lightsaber and activating the green blade. You shouldn't... Obviously you know that the Jedi and Sith are working together.
Right, it's like, what's your damage, Crystal? My vengeance is more important than this war.
Yeah, you don't even know that he's the one who killed Joe.
Well, he just kind of said.
Well, he did. But she's asking about it in the next couple of paragraphs, but... So why would you try and fight him? Because clearly you know he's on the side of your people.
Vengeance is more important to her.
I don't know.
It's a dramatic event that's not really
last?
that dramatic, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Stacy leapt backwards several meters from Crystal and landed next to Salvador. Salvador reached towards his belt and removed his lightsaber hilt. His red blade flared into existence and hummed in unison with Crystal's blade. Also... the Jedi hideouts had been abandoned, so, I didn't know where they went, so I couldn't find them.
But the war is being televised.
It's stupidly easy to find them.
Whatever.
Hey,
plot
we're
hole.
here. Hi, I'm a Jedi. Let me join you guys.
Here's another fucking plot hole, Lindsay. I'm worried the ending isn't going to make any sense because there's how did we get here? There's no real explanation.
Yeah. You killed him? Crystal asked, pacing back and forth in front of Salvador.
I killed him, yes, he answered. He was a fool. Crystal leapt forward and swung her green blade at Salvador's masked face. Salvador pushed her blade aside with his blade and threw a force push that lifted her into the air and slammed her into the side of a building. Like your master before you, Salvador said, you lack the skill of killing. Crystal pushed herself off the pavement and stared at her foe.
Why have you come here? She asked. Tell me, she demanded.
For you, he answered, pointing a gloved finger at her.
For me, she repeated. Why?
To end this war and establish Sith dominance, he answered, and to eliminate the normal humans from this world once and for all, he added.
And you expect me to just help you? She asked angrily.
No, he answered, reaching out with his free hand and grabbing her body with the force. I expect you to die first, he added. Crystal was lifted off the ground several meters.
All my character is just
it could happen. Crystal was lifted off the ground several meters. Her grip on her lightsaber was too weak to hold it. The handle slipped out of her grasp and fell to the ground, deactivating on impact. In truth, I need your connection to the Force, not you physically.
She's dead. That
Salvador
connection no
corrected
longer
himself.
exists.
We'll see.
She's like brain dead, I guess. Her body might still have the connection.
They killed Salvador and brought him back, so anything's possible.
True.
Salvador felt a sudden shift in the Force, and his head spun to his right, just in time to see a figure dash across his field of vision and snatch Crystal out of his Force grab. The figure turned out to be a young man of no more than 20, wearing loose-fitting clothing.
Hello.
He moved so fast that Salvador could not detect him until the exact moment before he snatched her. The young man placed Crystal on her feet and pulled out a lightsaber hilt and cracked the blade on facing
Clicked
the blade on facing Salvador. Who are you, boy? Salvador asked the young man.
You're not. I mean, you're kind of older. I guess you're like 12 years older than him.
He is, yeah.
A bit less, because he wasn't 20 when the story started, but yeah.
Yeah.
The hand of justice! The man replied.
You sure
The
are.
hand of justice. Salvador dashed forward, and their two blades clashed. The man blocked Salvador's strike at his stomach perfectly. The two blades held their contact until Salvador sidestepped out of the clash and swept his leg across the ground at the man's feet. The man leapt over his leg and used a force push to launch himself high into the air. Gather a great mass of force, he unleashed it in an extreme push towards the ground. Salvador put up a force shield just in time. The area that he stood in was now a massive crater that went about 10 meters into the ground.
Oh.
Whoever this hand of justice guy was, his control and use of the force rivaled even Salvador's. Oh, it's that point you were trying to find like 3 chapters ago.
What?
The point of dark energy that was gathering.
Oh, yeah, hey!
It's probably him. Salvador stood still, surveying the damage the man had caused, his black masked face turning from side to side. The man had taken off with Crystal, while Salvador was protecting himself from the damage of the massive force smash. Salvador growled in anger, and in a pit of rage... A pit of rage? He's in a pit, yeah.
Yeah.
A fit of rage, probably. Grabbed a massive skyscraper building with the force and brought it crumbling to the ground in front of him.
Wow, that was real effective use of your force, Salvi.
And Stacy's just, who knows?
Stacy's just hanging. She's just hanging with her friends.
Mm-hmm.
She's just being a good gal.
Yes.
Jeepies. Alright. Chapter 50. The Coming End. Rick sat behind his desk, his hand folded in front of him.
In the Oval Office.
It had now been a month since he had been named President of the World.
Tiny time jump.
Since he had taken command of the war between the Force humans and the normal humans had gotten much bloodier. Both sides had gotten more bloodier. Both sides were starting to get tired of this war, and were now trying to take shortcuts to end it faster.
After 4.5 years? Yeah.
I would too. Jeepers. The world's army had stepped up its hunt of Force humans and increased the number of soldiers they put to locate them. They also started to attack Force army bases more and more. The Force army had merely stepped up the rate of their attacks and strength of which they attacked. They were now becoming more brutal with their fighting and moving more rapidly. Only recently had Rick started paying attention and looking up information on the leader of the Force army.
What?
Darth Salvador. Would you not have started that immediately?
4 years ago.
All of these people are dumb and don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Confirmed.
Why would you put this man in charge of the world?
Out of all the Force humans in the world, this one person could end this entire war in favor of the Force army. He had a good idea what Salvador was planning, which is why he sent his apprentice to make sure he did not collect the second piece he would need.
How do you know that he was looking for her? First of all,
Because he's attuned to the Force. He could be like, she's good with the light. He needs her.
but he doesn't know he has the ritual or whatever.
I'm sure he does because
that was from a random Sith base that he randomly.
Look, but Salvador somehow knows like everything. Or not Salvador, Rick. Rick somehow always knows everything.
And also, did he just say that Salvador could literally take down the entire world's army alone?
Yes. This man's dumb. This man is silly. Mm-hmm. This man is a fool. Mm-hmm. All of like this war is dumb and should not have gone on this long.
Yeah.
A recent picture of Darth Salvador lay on his desk below his folded hands. He could not tell if he had seen Salvador before this war started or not because of the black suit and mask he always wore.
Oh, a recent picture because he looks so different.
You know, that initial battle was 4 years ago. They could have forgotten it.
Yes.
I guess. However, he knew that sooner or later he and Salvador would meet in battle.
But here I'm saying he's wearing a suit and a mask, so what the heck does it matter if it's a recent picture or not?
I know, it looks the same. You're right, you're right. 4 years. Sorry, you're right. I've been tuning some things out because I'm like, this doesn't matter. It's all just techno-babble. He knew that sooner or later he and Salvador would meet in battle, and when that day came, he would tear that mask off his face. He leaned back in his chair and closed his eyes. He took a deep breath and opened his eyes when a knock came at his door. "Enter," he said. His young apprentice walked in holding a girl who was flung over his right shoulder. The girl was kicking and demanding that she be put down at once.
This is Crystal. She's not a girl. She's a woman.
Older
woman.
He walked
like
to the center. I know. Just
30s, maybe?
Nah, I think she didn't age while the rest of the characters did.
I mean, she might have been in her 20s, but then
she looks like a Blizzard woman. She's got a young 20s face, but she has gray hair to indicate that she's 30. He walked to the center of the room and flung the girl to the floor. She hit the floor with a thud and a roll. Rick stood up and stared down at her. So this was the girl most tuned to the light side of the Force, he thought.
Because she wasn't like Stacy's age, was she?
No, she's older.
And she wasn't like Salvador's age. I'm pretty sure she was older than both of them.
Yes.
She was probably similar.
Because she had daddy issues and wanted to fuck Joe.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was an age gap between the two of them.
Yes, I think she's older than Stacy, and it's dumb. It's dumb.
Did they mention how
big
the age gap was? I forget.
No, maybe I forgot.
They might have.
I'm sure it's not important.
Yeah.
Nothing of this fic really feels that important.
When she was like mourning his death with like, hey, he was this much older than her.
Oh man, my daddy. She's like, fucking shut up. I don't care. The girl looked up at him.
"You're the new president," she whispered.
"Correct," he replied, walking out from behind his desk. The girl quickly pushed herself up and stood ready to defend herself.
"What do you want?" she demanded. "Why am I here?"
"You would rather be with Salvador?"
he asked, raising an eyebrow. The girl didn't respond.
"I didn't think so," he said. "Relax, we did not bring you all the way here just to kill you or hurt you," he said. "There's no need for that defensive posture."
"A normal human has a Force human working for him?" she asked, staring at the young man who had carried her here. "Hard to believe." And also, he carried her from L.A.
That right? He carried her all the way from L.A. to New York, or to the president. That's a cross-country run. Stupid.
And how long has it been?
They might have used an
airship. It would take like 40 hours to drive there.
Dumb. I
guess they probably flew.
"Believe it or not, some Force humans actually believe in coexisting, and for the time being, I am willing to accept those who come forward to me requesting such a relationship," he explained. "What is your name?" he asked. She glanced from Rick to the young man before answering.
"Crystal."
"I see," Rick replied. "Nice to meet you, Crystal."
"Why did you save me and bring me here?" she asked.
"Please sit,"
he said, pulling up a chair and placing it on the ground. Crystal slowly...
Why was the chair off the ground? Did he pick it up?
Poltergeist. It's a poltergeist situation.
Yes.
Crystal slowly sat down in front of the desk. Rick walked over behind the desk and sat down in the chair.
"I have saved you from the grip of Salvador to save us all," he answered. And as to why we've brought you here, I wanted to tell you this in person, he added.
What do you mean by you save me to save us all? She asked, confused. Heroes, save the cheerleader, save the world.
Yeah, duh.
Do you know why Salvador has targeted you specifically? He asked.
I only watched like the first season of that series.
I don't know what that is, even.
It's called Heroes. I rented it from the library or something. And I was like annoyed. And I'm like, okay, I don't care enough anymore. Anyways.
Do you know why Salvador has targeted you specifically? He asked. And why he has only tried to capture you and not kill you?
He literally just tried to kill her because he didn't need her, only her connection to the Force.
I know. He just admitted it.
No, Crystal answered. I don't know.
He kind of told you.
Yeah.
He needs to capture you alive so he can use you to destroy us all, he answered. I don't know the details of it myself. I just know that you are the most powerful when it comes to the light side of the Force, and that Salvador has some trump card up his sleeve that requires you and your connections to the Force, he explained. Other than that, I don't know what he plans to do, but it won't be good for either side, he added.
It'd be pretty good for the Force side.
Yeah. Crystal sat still, staring at Rick, apparently deep in thought.
Salvador is the most powerful when it comes to the dark side, he continued. My guess is that he knows some dark spell or ritual type of magic that he believes will end this war in favor of the Force army.
He stood up and turned his back to Crystal. He stood still, looking out of the window behind his desk.
This war has gone on for long enough, he went on. I plan to end this war in the next few days.
I think he has a ritual that will end the war in favor of the Force users. I plan to end the war in the favor of us. You're a Force user. Help us. It's like, no. Maybe I'll go join the Force side and...
No, she's too
lend them
good.
out.
She's too good.
But the world army isn't good either.
Stupid, Lindsay. It's stupid, and I just want to see how this ends.
Yeah. How do you plan to do that? Crystal asked.
Slice off the head of the serpent and the body will die,
That's
he
a
answered.
Hydra, LOL, MCU.
Well, maybe it is. I don't know.
I don't understand, she replied.
I am going to launch a full-scale attack on Salvador's main command ship, he answered. We are going to kill him.
And no, that's not gonna stop the Force army if Salvador's dead.
Yeah, it'll go to the second in command, Noiki.
Or it's like Stacy or something.
Or Stacy. Yeah, you need to kill them all, or they're just gonna keep trying.
Yeah.
Rick. Most armies don't stop as soon as their leader is killed. It's just a rough patch for a little bit.
Yeah, just to find a new leader, unless there's someone already lined up to be the leader.
Right? This is stupid.
Yeah, I see, she said, placing a finger on her chin.
With the death of Darth Salvador, the rest of the Force army will fight each other for command. In other words, they will destroy themselves from the inside out after his death.
That's banking on a lot.
He explained. That is banking on a lot.
And you're planning to ask me to help with this attack, she stated.
You are a sharp woman, he replied.
No, it's just that it's really obvious that you're asking her for help.
Right. You know, the way Rick has been characterized, I would not be surprised if, like, in a movie, the scene would be played with, like, slightly rapey undertones. Mm-hmm. I just feel like that's part of Rick's character. That's, like, really... He's kind of the stereotype of, like, the creepy, powerful white dude. Mm-hmm. You know?
Whether that be just your normal senses or the Force, it doesn't matter. You are correct. I wish for your assistance in this attack, he went on. Salvador is after you. If you show up during this attack, then he is guaranteed to make an appearance. If we just go in and attack, there's a high likelihood that he would not even deem us worthy of his presence, he continued. But with you there, he will come out.
Crystal considered it for a moment.
This line. You're certain that if Salvador is taken out, then all this bloodshed will end? She asked. Rick turned to face her.
Positive, he answered.
Then I'll help, she replied. If it will end the deaths on both sides, then I'll help. No, you're so fucking stupid.
You're an idiot.
It's not going to end. In fact, it might make it worse.
You are so naive, it's not even funny.
Yeah, it might make it worse, because they'll be like, hey, you fucking killed our leader. We're going to murder you to death.
As one does, as opposed to murdering to, you know, a nap.
Yeah.
Thank you, he replied with a slight bow.
Why is he bowing?
My friend here will show you to a room where you can get some rest, he indicated the young man. We will launch the attack tomorrow. The sooner we attack and end this, the better.
Is he gonna be like his son or something?
Maybe.
Because he's just been kind of around and calling him like master or something. I don't know.
We'll see. I think they'll reveal it, or they'll be dumb and won't reveal it.
Is he
and be
gonna
like,
have a
"What's the
name
point?"
finally?
The young man led Crystal out of the room. When the door was shut behind them, a smile spread across Rick's face. "You'll show yourself during the battle if she shows up," he whispered. "I will kill you personally, Darth Salvador." Next chapter, Darth Pollen's move.
Wait, that's a dude that's still alive.
Yeah. And I feel like that is such a good place to end because we'll do 4 chapters as the penultimate episode and then 4 chapters as the finale.
That'd be good.
Think that sounds good?
Sure.
So thanks, guys, for tuning in. This is where we're leaving off. We are getting so close to the conclusion of this epic tale of deceit, and honestly, I can't predict who's going to win because I don't know who the author is framing as the good guys.
I don't know that either of them are good. I mean,
We kind of have anti-heroes and anti-heroes, although President of the World is such an evil title
Yeah.
that, like, I feel like he has to lose, otherwise the bad guys win, but also a Salvador win. I think Rick and Salvador might both end up dead.
probably.
And, like,
Crystal and Stacy go off to
have
make
a
better
lesbian
world. Yeah,
relationship and save the world. That would be great. I'd ship it.
sure, why not? Although I still am unsure on how old Crystal is.
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Large age gaps sometimes make me uncomfortable.
That's true.
Although I guess
That's true.
Stacy's in her 20s now, so it's not too terrible.
Stacy was 20 at the start, so now she's 24. Because she was 20 after the 8-year time
After
jump.
the 8-year time jump, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Or something, 20-something.
She's 24, I think. 24 or, like, 23.
Because before the time jump, we knew how... I looked up how old she... Well, no, wait, after the time jump.
After the time jump, she
They
was,
said
like,
how old she
19, 20. She was around that age. So she was 15, 16... No, I lied. She was, 13, 14.
So she's, like, in her 20s, and then...
And Salvador...
She's, like, 25,
Salvador's
26
either...
now, probably?
Yeah, something about that. I don't know.
So
That's a whatever.
It's potentially a bit less creepy, I suppose, if they do have potential
Just
hypothetical
remember,
relationship.
Just remember, Stacy is a excellent breed of woman in her brother's eyes, which is the most uncomfortable way to talk about your sibling ever.
Yeah.
But like whatever. Anyway.
Anyway.
Thank you all so much for tuning in. Join us next week for the penultimate episode of Star Wars: The New Galaxy. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. We put out new content. We'll get back to Control Freaks. I'm so sorry. It probably will be up by the time this airs. If it's not, oh boy, am I a fool. Boo boo, I'm the fool. But that dates the episode if you know that we're recording this at a time when Control Freaks has nothing. Anyway, there's new content daily, and we put out Fanfiction Friday every Friday. And if you have a fic you'd like us to read on the show, please leave it down below. I love reading things. Yeah, whatever. Whatever, about whatever. Thank you.
The
Stay awesome,
neighbors
read
are
more
playing
smut.
guitar or something.
Until next time.
I don't know if you can hear that,
we'll
but they
see
are
you.
doing that.
Bye.
Bye.